There we go. Welcome to another live show here on the SARPL. Tonight, Tuesday night, the 26th of October. We're quite excited to join me in the studio tonight, all the way from America. It's Ryan Greenspan.
How's it going, everybody? What's up, South Africa?
Great. Ryan, just let us know where exactly in the USA are you situated at the moment?
Right now, I'm in San Diego, California, right here by the ocean. Actually, I'm looking at the ocean right now, just enjoying. Actually, it's winter time here. It's coming up to winter, so I'm gearing up for the final event of the season, World Cup.
Great, yeah. So the NXL World Cup again in Florida. Is it literally almost? Is it in a week's time almost?
That's correct. Well, actually, so tomorrow they actually release the layout. Then we have 2 weekends of practice, then the event. So, in exactly 2 weeks from today, we'll be getting on a flight out to Florida.
Okay, awesome. And congratulations on the win this last event. That looked like it went pretty well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a good one. It was easy. Alex Frazier made it easy for us.
Okay, cool. And how's it? Are you guys feeling very confident about World Cup as well?
Yeah, I mean, you coming off a win, you usually feel pretty confident at the end of that. But it's World Cup, so everybody brings their A game for this one. So it's hard to say. I mean, I feel confident pretty much every event we go into. It's a good mindset to be in. However, it's not just because we won the last event and it was that easy that we're just going to be able to walk all over everybody, because everybody preps a lot harder than for this event.
Indeed, World Cup is one of those where people don't hold back. It's always very interesting to watch, and you can literally almost feel that intention build up, especially going into Sunday Club on the Sunday, those games. And I think for a viewer on the one side, it's one thing watching it, but what goes typically for you guys, if you hit Sunday Club, especially the closer and closer you move to the finals, what's part of the feelings that goes through your mind, if you want to put it that way, or the emotions you go through moving up to the finals?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because of the way the finals and Sunday is set up for the pros. We play all of our games first thing in the morning, and then there's a big long lull, a big long wait for everybody else to catch up. So Sunday is actually kind of it's actually a really tough mental game to get through. And depending on where you're sitting going into Sunday, you might be playing that wild card round, which is the first game bright and early in the morning, like 7 a.m., which is always a tough one to get going for, because usually the reason you're playing that one is because you're already in 10th place, or you don't really have a good handle on the field. And then if you win that, you go on to play a higher seed team. So that's a really tricky bracket to come out of, which we've been in a handful of times, and actually in the last event, notably Baltimore Revo, who only had 6 guys playing, they won out of the wild card round and then went on to beat Impact and Heat. So, that's a tough bracket to be in. But then once you get into that first and second place after you play the semifinals, there's about a 5-hour window that you have to sit and wait. You finish around 12:30 or 1, and then the finals are at 5:30 or 6. So it's a tricky balance on staying focused and staying prepared, staying hydrated, make sure you have enough energy. So there's a lot that a lot of times it's really hot or it's wet. In the case of us playing in the European NXL, we won the last one of those in Amsterdam. It was knee deep mud throughout the entire field, and it was freezing cold, but there's nowhere to warm up. And
I can remember
5 hours. You couldn't even take your gear off, that was miserable. So to stay focused in that type of thing, it takes a lot of mental fortitude, and you really have to be dialed in with the plan and stick through it.
Yeah, no, true. Listen, I completely feel
Sorry about
you.
that. You still there?
Yeah, no, I'm still here. I can feel you for that, for Amsterdam. That was probably one of the most miserable events.
I lost audio for a second. I can't hear you anymore.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Uh-oh.
You're still there.
I can no longer hear you. I see your lips moving. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I think you said yes. Okay. I cannot see. I can see you. I can't hear you. I can see your lips moving. Do you want to type into the chat what I should do?
Okay, let's go.
I could sign back on. You want me to sign back on? Okay, I'm going to do that. Let me refresh this.
Right. So while Ryan is getting back on there, one of the questions that Marco was asking is, how was it losing Tyler Horman? Let's see if we can get. Can you hear me now again?
Yeah. We're back. I don't know what happened.
Cool.
All right,
it's live. We actually we're an ocean apart, so I suppose it's bound.
We are several oceans apart, as a matter of fact. There are multiple oceans in between us.
Yeah, there we go. So one of the questions, one of the viewers asking is, how was it losing Tyler Horman?
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, it was tough for several reasons. A, because Tyler's, one of the best players in the world. So losing a guy like that off of your roster is really hurts. On top of that, he did it a couple of days before practice or the week before practice. So it wasn't like we had a lot of time to really adjust and kind of figure it out. Leaving mid-season is kind of a tricky thing for all parties involved. Obviously the team that loses the body, it feels a little jaded on the situation and the scenario. But on top of that, it's obviously the guy that leaves halfway through the season. He doesn't really care too much what damage is done because he's already over being there in the first place. So it was tricky. It was, but we dealt with it well because after we lost Tyler, we went on to take third place. They beat us narrowly. There were a couple of points I actually just discussed with Matty Marshall for Go Sports that went pretty close. And, that was they took a victory there, but we were injury ridden right there on that last match. We lost both of our number one guys on the Dorito side, and then our final player to be playing that spot had screws put in his hand because he broke it 7 days prior to the event. So he was playing with a broken hand, and we still hung in there pretty strong. And then obviously we won the last event, so we're ahead of them in the series. And did he go to the team that is the best team? I mean, I think Dynasty are the good guys. So, no, in my opinion. However, as long as he's happy, then that's all that really matters.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Now, another one here from Renico is, he says, how many times has Paul actually met Mr. Greenspan? Now, Ryan, I think we go back. I think the first time I met you was in Malaysia, I think in 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like it could be right.
Yeah,
definitely a handful of times. Pretty much every time that I've gone out to South Africa, I've been to South Africa a lot.
Yes.
And then the World Cups, the European events. So I don't know, call it a 10 of them, 10 times, even 10.
Well, definitely all the Europe events that I've gone to, I've always met up with you there. That's correct. And then obviously, as you say, I think you joined us 2013, the first year we did Paintball Super Cup here in that was still in the Garib. I don't know if you can remember, there in the middle of nowhere at the dam. So yeah, and then before that, even if I'm not mistaken, you came out to South Africa even prior to us meeting. I think you went with the Birch brothers, Chris and Nick Birch.
Yeah. So we came out there in like the early 2010s kind of time. We went out then with the Birch brothers and Keith Morris, I believe, to play paintball, hang out, and get a big tour of the nation. Then I think I've been out there a total of 5 times at least out to South Africa.
Yeah, and for you personally, I know that the last time you were here when you were done, I think you went down to Cape Town, if I'm not mistaken, and you did the Great Whites. And
I think I've done that 2 or 3 times at least. I think that's a blast. It's a great time. I love Cape Town. That's one of my favorite places, on earth to visit. The topography, the geology, everything out there is pretty fantastic. I'm a big ocean person, so any chance I can get to be near the ocean is a treat for me. So I actually loved it out there.
Okay. And any plans to come back to South Africa in the near future again?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to. It's a pretty big schlep to get out there. Now that I have a kid, it makes things increasingly more difficult to leave because I can't just go out there for the weekend because it takes a weekend to get there and back. So
Yeah.
It's tough, but I'm always open to coming back out. Depending on how paintball is going, depending on how the politics of the world are going, also have a big effect on that. I know that a lot of you guys are not traveling. I know a lot of people are just looking forward just to World Cup. I think the U.S. just opened their borders as of November 8th, and the World Cup starts on the 11th. So I think there's a handful of people that bought tickets last minute, got vaccinated, and are ready to hop on a plane and come see World Cup.
And for you personally, obviously looking at COVID and everything that's happened over the last almost 2 years now, for you that obviously love traveling and love getting around, are you slowly finding that getting around a bit more now? How was that not being able to travel as much?
Yeah, I mean, well, we just really weren't able to travel for those first, I think, 6 to 8 months. So between Las Vegas and then World Cup, once World Cup kind of was going on, so 2020 it would have been April 1st to say October 1st, somewhere in there. We weren't really able to travel much at all. So it was kind of lousy. I mean, sitting at home, I think a lot of viewers here who understand that was not fantastic. The U.S. did not have the most strict quarantine laws. I mean, that also depended on where you were, but for the most part, people were out and about relatively quickly. The flying thing, I don't care wearing a mask. It's not a big deal for me. Most paintball players are pretty liberal, I guess you could say. So, some people wear masks, some people don't. Nobody really seems to care because you just want to play paintball.
Yeah, and I think they've proven over and over again being outside is actually one of the best things that you can do, especially in the summer times. And obviously, the chance of infection if you're outside is so slim that it feels pointless wearing a mask especially when you're outside. So
I mean, I'm not a doctor or a virologist or anything like that, but I feel pretty safe out here. I feel safe in an airplane, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, look, I mean, they've got those things that's cleaning the air anyway. So I think they use UVC lights or whatever to clean.
Clean the air. And then the people right next to you are spraying hand sanitizer all over their face like it's Evian water, and so you're getting a nice dusting of sanitizer and air purifier. So you're fine.
All right. So another question is, who would you like to add to your? I suppose it's supposed to be a roster and not roaster.
Our roasters. Well, we're gonna roast up some baby back ribs tomorrow. But I can't really talk about who we want to add. Not until 2022. But we could definitely use a little bit more depth and speed. Our team's not incredibly fast right now. I think I might be the fastest guy on the team, and I'm about to be 40 years old, so that's never a good thing. But with that being said, we could use some more bruisers because as people get a little older and less mobile, you tend to move a little bit back a couple rings. So we can get some youth on the team and really coach them up. That's always a good thing to look into.
Okay. So I see here over and above the fact that you got a good shout out here for Dynasty Rules. There's another one here. Say you need to go wine tasting in the Cape, but I'm pretty sure you've done that when you were down there.
I've done that a couple of times actually. Well, I've done it I think twice. A buddy of mine was actually, the last time I was down there, just randomly was living down there. He flew out there to be a model or something like that. I don't know how well it went for him, but he had access to a bunch of these wineries and wine tasting events and stuff. So we went to a couple of them. I think I've done it twice. It's pretty fun. They have great wine out there. It's fantastic. I actually grew up in wine country up in Northern California. So not like I'm a wine connoisseur or anything. It all tastes relatively the same. It's either really bad or it's not really bad.
All right. And if you had any advice for paintball players at the moment, if we get back to paintball quickly, for someone that's getting out into playing paintball, that's fairly new to paintball, what's the type of advice you would give somebody like that to improve their skills or to get better at what they're doing?
Yeah, one of the things is you just can't get discouraged, and you gotta take it slowly, right? You can't just jump into anything and expect to be highly competitive and really really good. It takes years of practice, but there are ways now to fast track a lot of that practice. You can do. There's tons of stuff, access to online stuff. I know in South Africa you guys are pretty far away, so there aren't a lot of these types of pro clinics that you guys can go to, but you guys can reach out to a lot of the pro online forums and things like that, go into YouTube and do the tedious work. So, and what that means is, if say you're playing, you got a case of paint and it's kind of nearing the end of the day and you got like a loader and a pod or two left. A lot of people are like, I'm just going to play. I'm just going to get one more game in. But the people that are really hungry, the people that are really going to be excelling in this sport will take that extra loader, those pod, and do some drills. Think of yourself as a footballer or a rugby player or whatever major sport you guys endorse out there. And think of every like radical move that anybody has ever done where they juke somebody, they kick the ball to there, or they get the goal. That didn't happen overnight. You got to do all this behind the scenes stuff. And so the behind the scenes fundamentals of the game are something that are incredibly important, that are often overlooked because, at the end of the day, you guys are here to have fun and to play. So you don't want to have to make it look like a job. So you don't want to have to do all this hard, tedious, lousy, fun, non-fun stuff. But at the end of the day, that's the stuff that pays off, right? So that's something that always to take into consideration is force yourself to do the tedious work. Because in the end, it's going to pay off and you're going to end up having more fun at the end of the day the next time you play. So just kind of keep that in mind, keep your head up. I know, like I said, it doesn't happen overnight and there's pretty much always going to be somebody that's better than you out there. So don't get discouraged just because you lose a couple of games or you get shot a bunch. Everybody has bad days. Everybody has good days. And no matter who you are, if it's me, it's Alex Fragi, it's Konstantin Fedorov, Tyler Horman, there's always somebody who's playing a little bit better than you out there. So don't worry about it.
All right. And just for the record, when did you start playing paintball?
So I started playing in 1998, 97, 98, I think was the first time I ever played paintball, right around then. And then we started Dynasty in 2001.
Sure. Okay. And since then you've been playing Dynasty all along?
Yeah. I've played on other teams, obviously. I've played on guested on other teams, like we did the ML Kings. I played the Golden State Kings, the ML Kings. I played with I actually guested with Heat over in Europe for a little bit. So I've played on plenty of other organizations and teams, but as far as US play goes, I've never played on anybody else other than Dynasty.
Okay. And there's obviously always quite a lot of banter, if you want to put it that way, between speedball and bushball and all the different formats, and then it's airsoft and whatever the case would be. I do see you regularly, if there's a paintball event somewhere, you usually one way or another competing in it. So it doesn't seem, do you have a preference when it comes to paintball, or is paintball?
So I love playing in the woods. That's kind of how we grew up, or I guess you'd call it the bush. So woods ball, bush ball for me is very nostalgic. We owe it to the game to pay our respect to the game by playing out there. Also, that's another great way to kind of really showcase and bridge the gap between the two realms of paintball, right? I need more tournament players to be playing out there. Think about it. I know you guys don't have too many or any. Do you guys have any snow out there?
You guys we're lucky if we get it here and there, but nothing major, no.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that I equate it to quite a bit is snowboarding. I know that you guys are all familiar with it because I'm sure you've seen the Olympics and more than likely know who Shaun White is. For every gigantic mountain, we have lots of them out here. For every gigantic mountain out there, you have hundreds and hundreds of acres or hectares or whatever you guys use out there, thousands actually, of mountain space for people to just go ride and ski and snowboard and play on the snow. And then there's this very small little section of some of the mountains that have a giant 25-foot half pipe, which I'm never going to go down, or the park that has these big kickers, which I did when I was a young kid. But that's where the tournament side of things are. And it's less than 1% of the tournament of the space in paintball. The other 99% is the big mountain. That's where all the bush ball players are. That's where all the woods ball players are. So it's really important to make sure that we show that there are two different portions of this game where there is a growth and there is a place for you to go to continue so you can be competitive. I mean, anything is competitive, whether it's paintball, it's ping pong, it's rock, scissors, papers, flipping a coin. There's always going to be something out there that people want to compete with. So paintball is a great example. And I think it's important because there are two stark differences. It's not like football where you have a ball and when you're younger, the ball's just smaller and the field's just smaller. Right. And It's the same game though, right? There's no completely different, field to be playing on or pitch to be playing on. So it's difficult for paintballers to kind of grow and to understand that because again, there are two stark differences. However, I think it's really important and it's really, really beneficial for tournament players, especially to go out and play bush ball. Now, that doesn't mean you go out there and you shoot the hell out of everybody and bonus ball kids and make them so they don't have a good time. What you do is you go out there and you kind of show them how much better you are at paintball. And people are like, wow, that guy's really good. But on top of that, you really develop some skill sets that a lot of people lose focus on. And the communication aspect of it is one big factor. I was actually the last 3 weekends in a row, I've been lucky enough to play woods ball the last 3 weekends. I did a big game out in Chicago. There are about 1,000 people, maybe 800 people out there. I did a local day with some friends. I've been always promising that I'd take them out to play. So we did a little woods ball day. And then this weekend, on Sunday, 2 days ago, I just did an HK Army street ball event up here in California. And it was all spools and huts and little, down tractors and things like that. But what I realized out there more so than anywhere else was that the players had a really, really good handle on like the communication aspect. Because a lot of them wanted to play tournament paintball, but that's the only field in the area. So they just made do with what they did. The local team out there actually just won a tournament. They won five guns. They won. They took fifth place at the NXL in Sacramento. So you can develop skills. And what really impressed me was not just their snap shooting skills and all these things that they really have to hone in, but their communication skills. Communication in the woods is one of the more difficult things to master because you have to explain things like it's not like symmetrical, right? You're not like, oh, he's in the 5, the 3, the God bunker, and the snake 1. It's like he's in the see the tractor. There's a building to the right of the tractor. He's right behind that, and there's a guy in the window at the top left. It's like your communication really dials in on that sort of thing, and that's another reason I really like playing woods ball. Aside from it just kind of changing things up.
Yeah, like you say, it's definitely where it all started. I think most of us started either at a paintball birthday party, or we started at a
exactly,
like you say, a typical woods ball. I remember my first game was probably also back. Geez, sounds like it was even before you, because my first bush ball event I played was in 1993, if I'm not mistaken. It was the year I went to the army. Still up, I was still part of the lot that had compulsory army duty. And in that year that I was in the army, I actually started playing bush ball, and I can still remember I got shot by a pro player that had his marker was set too high or whatever, and already had a laser sight, and he shot me on the nose because I didn't have a proper face mask on. I just had those safety goggles on that you could wear back then. So you just had those normal safety goggles. And that guy shot my nose. I still think till today it was broken, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, but it's literally like you say. That's pretty much where most of us started with paintball was in bush ball or at a paintball event.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah. All right. So another question that came in is, what's the next step for you? Dynasty till the end, or will you switch teams before you retire?
Well, I'm definitely not going to switch teams. That's for sure. So it's going to be Dynasty to the end. We got a lot of big stuff cooking with Dynasty. and I'll just kind of keep playing and plugging away until I'm not really good anymore. So I think I still got a little bit of time left.
Okay, cool. And for you, do you feel you still have a few years behind you that you're ready to go?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So not looking at retirement still anytime soon.
No, not yet. I'll be 40 in February. So 2022 will be my I'll be in my 40s playing. So I'll be able to play the Masters division too.
Okay. And let me just see what were some of the other questions. Okay, no, so the rest. Oh, Mr. Birch says hi as well, Christopher Birch.
Hey.
All right. So, so if there's, would you say for people getting into paintball, we spoke earlier before we started the stream, and you said in the US, paintball is actually picking up again from previous years. So you definitely see a tick up in people playing, specifically because it's outdoors.
Yeah, I mean, I think paintball in general right now, just whether it's newcomers or people who've been playing forever, is booming big time right now. Like I said, the COVID, when it happened and everything got shut down, the first things that started to open were outdoor activities. So depending on what state you lived in, what city you lived in, what county, all that sort of stuff, the restrictions started lifting slightly, but outdoor sports were the first thing to allow members and people to come out and play. So golf had a huge boom, mountain biking, street biking, those type of things. Paintball was a huge uplift because not only that, and the government in the U.S. Provided a stimulus, so everybody was getting paid to go out and play paintball. Essentially, every 6 months or every couple of months, some people would get some money. Most of the people, for that matter, would get a check, and that was meant to stimulate the economy, whether it to be buy food, or if you didn't really need the money, you'd spend it on something stupid like a new paintball gun, or a new mountain bike, or a new set of golf clubs, or whatever, a new surfboard. All that sort of stuff was a huge boom as soon as everything lifted, because everybody was stuck at home indoors, and a lot of times the gyms were still closed. So, like, we need to get out and do something active. And so that was one of the big booms.
Okay. Another question here is, what's your way for warming up mentally and physically before an event?
Mentally, I just kind of go over what the game plans are, what the moves are. I play around the field quite a bit, so I have an idea of what is going on the field and what's going to happen and where guys are going to be. So I just kind of try to mentally prepare for that. As far as physically, I just stretch a whole lot. I mean, I'm constantly stretching, whether I'm playing or not. So just keeping my muscles limber, my mind fresh, and things like that. I drink a lot of water. Don't drink any soda. Don't drink any sugary drinks. No Gatorade, no Powerade, none of that stuff. Just strictly water, and a lot of it.
Okay, and just for you, if we look at a balanced lifestyle between obviously home life and paintball, how do you find, if you look over a typical week, how do you find you balancing life in general, just for people that's struggling with that balance in general with playing paintball, having a life?
Yeah, it's tough, because my schedule is substantially different than most normal people, and that is that paintball is my job, so the weekends are reserved for paintball work, my job, etc. And one of the things that everybody else has to do is they work all week and then they play paintball on the weekend. So their entire 7 days of the week are normally tied up. So it is tricky to balance a personal life with that. I mean, it is for me as well. I do have a kid and a fiance, and she's not keen on me leaving or doing anything that is paintball related when I don't have to play paintball. So if it's not a work event or something along those lines, it's really hard for me to kind of get out and play paintball, and I understand that. When I still do want to, I'll be playing as much as I possibly can and staying sharp, because that's an important factor right there. But it's tough. And I know that a lot of people, it's a hobby that they want to be really good at, and it's difficult to get people to commit. Again, you have a wife, a girlfriend, a husband, or a family member that is constantly like, wait, you worked all week, you're not playing paintball on Saturday. Like, what are you talking about? So, it's a difficult balance, but you got to be respectful of everything that's around you and make sure you take care of your priorities.
Cool. Thank you. We're going to almost wrap up. I see here's another question. Ryan, do you think all paintball leagues should have an option for an all women's division?
Yes and no. I mean, here's the thing. In my mind, and I think that in a lot of people's mind, women should be included in what we do. The second you exclude them and build an only women's league, you're kind of defeating the whole purpose of them fighting for all this equal opportunity. And I don't think that women have a disadvantage on the paintball field whatsoever. A lot of it comes down to practice and mentality. I see the women's team for the Team USA because I helped pick them, and I've watched them. They beat up on the guys all the time. And when you take that group that's already very small and you build a specific league just for them, then you're stunning the growth of that particular demographic, right? If you're like, oh, kids are not allowed to play. If you're under 18, you're not allowed to play anybody who's over 18. Sorry. That's just unfair to the growth of players who have been working hard. And on top of that, because they are a minority in paintball, you're not going to get a huge sample size. It's difficult for us to put field a team of U.S. women. So I don't know how many women players there are going to be. And again, if you go out to the paintball field, if I go out to the paintball field for practice this weekend, there might be 1 or 2 women. Now, the reason for that isn't necessarily because there aren't enough good women players. Maybe they're just kind of scattered around a little bit. Maybe they just didn't make the specific team. There's a lot of reasons and factors for that. But you're already paintball is male driven. There are, I would say, 85 to 90%, even more probably, men to woman ratio. So the second that you exclude that group and you create an only women's thing, I understand that more women are going to be like, oh, good, I can compete and I can do better. But the fact that you're not doing well as it is, just labeling you as a pro isn't necessarily, in my opinion, the right way, and only allowing you to compete against your people. Your people, that didn't sound right. Your demographic, rather. So I think that they should all be included because, again, I do not see why anybody should be given a handicap. Paintball is the one sport in the entire world where every player has a direct effect on the outcome of the game. It's the most inclusive sport that is around. And so with that being said, A, you just either got to work harder just like everybody else has, or B, you got to create your opportunities. There are young kids in the 16, 17, 15-year-old range that are making their way up the ranks, and they're putting in the work. They're putting in all the effort and the work to get there. So, if that is the mental fortitude that they need, everybody should be putting that forth as well. So do I think that every team should have a women's league? It's different if it was American football or rugby. Yes, because there is a stark difference between a fully grown, testosterone-ridden, protein shake drinking 300-pound man running down the field, tackling people, versus a woman of the same kind of, if they train at the same level. It's going to be, that might be unfair. However, paintball is not like that. And so, just biology determines some sports cannot be as inclusive as paintball, but paintball, luckily for everybody out there who plays it, is very inclusive. So, that's my take on it. I mean, I hope I didn't sound sexist in any way, because that's not how it was meant to be. I want there to be a woman pro. I want there to be a woman in the pro ranks. As a matter of fact, I do remember a girl playing in Europe. She played on, I think, a Czech team. She was really, really good. She was like incredibly good. Her fundamental skills, her snap shooting, her running and shooting, she practiced almost every other day. She was a really good player. I think something happened with the team that drove a lot of the team to break up. But The team wasn't a fantastic team. However, she was one of the better players on there. So you just got to get the reps like everybody else.
And there, I totally agree with you there. And for me, even sitting on the United Paintball Federation, obviously there we've got the categories for men's, and like you saw now for the World Championships, there we've got men's, women's, under 19, under 16. But there's a place and there's a need for that at times. Obviously, I think on a
and right there,
on a world
Paul,
scale.
That was great. That topic was a perfect example. Like if it's a team representing, if it's the men's team, the women's team, the under 16, under 19s, those are the perfect opportunities because you just need more than just one spectacle. If it was just the men's, that's it. Then there's just not enough sample size. But for the Nations Cup, then yes, of course, I think that there should be different broken up divisions because that allows a team to enter in as many possible candidates as you can. But in the sense of just creating a women's league and not letting them play against any men, that's just silly.
Yeah, for me, when I saw that being announced as well, it didn't make logical sense for me personally. I didn't see. I'm there very much on the same page as you. I also feel there's no real need for that, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I would rather like to see them as part of the different teams and the different club teams that you get out there to get involved.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
All right. So
sorry, I'm writing down some notes while we're talking a little bit.
All right. So I see a Mark Gerber mentioned. Was it maybe Fat Lady Charms? Can you remember if that was the name of that European team?
No. Fat Lady Charms played for a long time. They never made it pro. That was an all-women's team. I'm talking about I think it might have been like Vienna United or something. No, it was some other pro NXL Europe team. And the girl was really good.
Okay. All right. So you also have again, for those, obviously it will probably be while most of us are sleeping, but you guys have your own Spick and Span show in your evening tonight as well. So
every Tuesday, every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So California time, we're going to be running it about 4 hours from now, 4.5 hours. We do it. Kyle Spick and I just do a fun live show. It started as a Q&A. So we've got a bunch of listeners and viewers that come in. We give away a ton of prizes. Every so often, Alex Fragi jumps in and gives away a free Hormesis headband, which everybody knows is very difficult to get. That might be the easiest opportunity you have to get one of those. And then we talk about all sorts of stuff. So we have special guests on all the time. We're going to have Dimitri Ninos from X Factor on today. He's going to be talking a little bit about his Astra League, a little bit about X Factor, their goals and everything for World Cup. And he's just a really cool dude. And yeah, sometimes we eat some terrible things, which is kind of funny, just stupid. But we'll be doing that after World Cup for sure.
Okay, cool. So like you said, for those that want to join, and obviously it is available afterwards as well on your YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. If you just type in Ryan Greenspan on YouTube, you'll find my channel. You'll find actually there's a whole bunch of pro tips on there too. I know that I mentioned getting some ideas and snap shooting and running and shooting and kind of like some online courses. There's some pro tips section on there that I go over a bunch of stuff. bkipaintball.com has a lot of information on there. But yeah, if you want to check out a Spick and Span show, think of it as a podcast. You can also check it out on Spotify if you don't want to actually look at our faces while we're talking, and you just want to listen to it. You can check it out on Spotify. Just type in the Spick and Span show, SPICK and SPAN. And it's a lot of fun. You know, we started about a year ago and a year and a half ago, and we just kind of been going strong and got a great audience, and we do fun things on there. Spin the wheel. If you're a member of the show, you get your name on a wheel. We spin it, give away cool prizes. Sometimes it's a Dynasty jersey. Sometimes it's a pair of goggles. Sometimes it's a gear bag, backpack, could be a sticker pack. There's all sorts of stuff. We do ship internationally, so everybody wins.
All right, cool. So Ryan, thank you so much for being on live today with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing some of your wisdom. yeah, I'm wishing you all the best for World Cup. Hopefully, Dynasty can pull another one out and grab another gold at World Cup. And
Hell yeah.
And I'm looking forward to chatting to you again, or hopefully seeing you in Europe or at one of the events where we both are again. And hopefully in not too far future, you might join us here in South Africa again.
Yeah, I hope to come out there again soon, sometime soon. But yeah, you can probably count on that.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. All the best, and have an awesome day further.
Thank you very much for having me. Shout out to everybody in South Africa. I'm stoked to see the Birches. Birches are still in it. Say hi to the family and say hi to everybody. I hope to see you guys soon.
Great. Cheers, Ryan. All right, so that was it for our chat this evening with Ryan Greenspan from Dynasty, sharing some of his wisdom. It was awesome having you all on board. Thank you for the questions that you guys posted. Look out for a few more live sessions over the coming weeks. We're also planning on having more regular sessions with pro players from around the world, some already lined up. If you have someone specific that you think we need to get on board and have a chat to, let us know. And if you're lucky, we might even drag you in on the live show to chat to your favorite paintball player in the world. Yeah, share with us who you would like to meet online at least, and have a live, be part of a live conversation. And we'll get you in on the conversation. And then we can take it from there. I see a few requests for Oliver Lang. Obviously, he hasn't played in quite some time. I'll see if I can get hold of him. I haven't spoken to him in ages. But let me see what I can do. And any other pro players, we will also be speaking to some of the pro refs from the US and just getting some feedback about how they treat certain rules and certain things that's happening on the field. So we're trying to make this as interactive as possible. Let us know what you would like to find out more information about, and let's grow paintball together and let's learn more. Thank you, everyone, and have an awesome evening further. Cheers for now.